hold him long, but for that pre-construction, we'll talk about the logistics of us starting construction. We'll kind of hammer out Kwame, Patrick, Brian, and us, and Mr. Spratley will go through kind of the logistics of Leaper getting in and out, basically how everything's going to operate. While I believe they're going to be in there, we preliminarily talked about them being in the building, working in other areas outside of the sanctuary, so possibly using the gym, their office spaces, and the other spaces. So we want to kind of coordinate that with them, as well as some of those classroom spaces. So we want to also talk about working hours, things like that. So we'll kind of get that out and kind of get that going, and we'll also set patterns for weekly or bi-weekly meetings that we could have on site with all parties. So those are kind of some of the things we'll be looking for. And so just kind of, I'll get out a draft agenda that we could all look at, and we could just all look and see and make sure that works for everybody. So Bobby, I think that's the extent of what we had as far as electrical. Your presence may or may not be needed for that, because I think because we're all internal, any questions that come up, we could certainly communicate that to you. I think the main part of that construction meeting will be just getting final decisions on such things as the flooring, if they want to keep their existing stone at the pulpit area, when we can't do work, some things we need to work around, and just kind of logistics. So Bobby, I don't want to hold you,
Gordon,
but
I'll jump in a little bit right there.
Yes.
Patrick and I met with Daryl Otley this morning.
Oh, great.
And so we ran through site logistics, and I think we can produce a site logistics plan for Tuesday as well, so that
Okay.
Along with the schedule update, we can talk about where we're laying down, how we're ingressing and egressing from the building. So I think we got that sorted out with Daryl. The meeting schedule will need to be determined on their availability, coordinated. So that'll be good. We don't have the answers to that right now, but the site logistics, I think we have a pretty good handle on.
Yeah, and for Tuesday, it'll probably just be focused on just kind of a layman's understanding of how they will, how you'll be kind of using the building. It might not need to be 100% spelled out, but just for their congregants who might be using the gym or using the office spaces, just kind of explain to them the impact of this project on them. And then as we get into pre-construction, we could probably get more down to the I call the fine details that you would get that you probably discussed this morning with Mr. Otley. So that's fine. So with that said, I think we want to focus. Bobby, I didn't want to hold you. I think that was pretty much the extent of any kind of electrical we're going to discuss today. I know you got, and I want to hold your time for when we will need you later on.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that again. And like I said, you need me, just reach out. I'll make myself available.
I appreciate it, and thank you very much.
All right, everybody, have a great weekend.
So today I wanted to focus most of this meeting on getting ready for Tuesday. And I believe Audrey sent out to you all kind of a template that we could kind of fill into. And so
you want me to share it, Gordon?
Sure. And I'll first kind of share my thoughts on how this could go, and then I'll kind of want your inputs as to what you think. Tuesday's meeting, my understanding, is basically selling to the church leadership selling the idea or the need for this project to the congregation. I should say that the need for this project has already been sold to the congregation, but basically wants to get everybody in the congregation behind it and ensuring that, they give towards the effort. So we've been asked to come in to kind of present. This is more of a meeting to get the congregation excited about the project. And so the the meeting that we're going to have later on with the owner is going to be more logistics about it, a pre-construction, all the things that we cover and that type of meeting. So we thought we'd have, we're going to go through um, slide by slide, but just basically the biggest thing is we want to have everyone there kind of present. And we were thinking we'd start off with Wade because you guys basically this project basically started as a AV upgrade, and just give in layman's terms just an outline of what the scope of the project. And then we were going to come in and talk about some of the architecture, um, some of the ideas that how the ideas developed and where we landed. And then at the end, RJ Leeper could come in and talk about things like logistics about when you plan on starting, access to the building, you know, and just basically how things will be operating in 3400 for the next 3 months. So that's kind of a big picture of what we're talking about. Some of the big ideas definitely want to sell the church because of the great, because of the I guess the respect done by that they give to their pastor. Just make sure that they understand that the pastor and a lot of the church leadership was involved in a lot of the decisions. We didn't, they were intricately involved throughout the process. I think that's one big thing. Let them know that we are basically reacting to a lot of the feedback that we got from them, and just basically show them that in the end of the day that we're going to give them a product that enhances what they have. So those are kind of the big idea items that we kind of want to convey. And so I'm going to turn it over to Audrey, and we'll go through the presentation as we think it should go. And then I just love everybody's impact as to whether we need to switch some things up or, how we should kind of tie it down. And we'd like to try to get them something Monday mid-morning, Monday 12 noon, so that they could kind of have it and kind of know what's we're going to present. I'll check the timeline, but I'd imagine we have about 10 minutes to kind of do it all. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Audrey to show you, what we kind of put together and kind of some of the placeholders where we could start filling in with information that we want to show for the presentation. So it's
Yeah,
on you,
well, good
Audrey.
morning, guys. Thank you, Gordon. We're kind of starting out here on the first page. Just a general, we wanted to keep it pretty general, didn't want to make it neighboring concepts, didn't want themed as we usually do our presentations, because this obviously is more about the church and their mission. So that was kind of the purpose for the opening slide, the date that we'll be presenting, and that this is the AV upgrades, and trying to make it really, easy to read for people who are listening to this later, probably online. And then we'll go into like the meet the team. So Wave, you'll present. I know that you'll have someone there speaking. I was thinking here we could just add a list of people who have been part of the project under each logo. So we can add those names in. And I can come back, and don't worry about formatting too much. I can clean that up and make sure that all the font is the same. And I can come back and do that on Monday once everyone's information is in. So Wave, you'll tell us, hey, we're Wave. Here's our team of people. Neighboring Concepts will introduce, Gordon will introduce us. And RJ Leeper, you'll introduce your team as well. And then, kind of like Gordon said, we were thinking that Wave, you could start us off since you've had this projects from the beginning, and just kind of talk about the initial scope. And it looks like you guys have already filled in some slides, which are great. And we'll just let you guys talk. And I just try to put in some slides for you. Feel free to add another slide if you need. I just wanted to put in some like placeholders. And then, talking about the assisted listening system, I think that was obviously something that Reverend Span asked about. So after you guys are done wrapping up your portion of the scope, neighboring will take over, and we'll go over our portion of the scope. We'll kind of explain that similar to how you guys have explained your part. We'll talk about, what's existing, what's there currently, and then we'll talk about a little bit about our design process and about how we worked as a team, and also that we had input from Pastor, and we had input from Harvey, Reverend Span, all the team members that, the congregation is familiar with. We think that that's really important. And then we'll go into the vision, and we'll show those renderings that Gordon was showing you guys this morning. Gordon, I'm going to do a little Photoshop on those before we send them out to Reverend Span today, just to clean up a few edges. And then, RJ Leaper, we were hoping that you guys could kind of like fill in some kind of round us out, and kind of talk through your timeline, or, whatever else that you guys think is relevant to that the congregation needs to know. And that's kind of how we're thinking it'll go. And then we'll just have a nice ending slide, like a thank you and a quick wrap up. And, about 10 to 12 slides is probably pretty good. And I don't even know if we need this many slides. If you guys need more slides, then go for it. I think if we, kind of pinpoint that 10-minute timeline, then we'll probably end at about 15 minutes. And that's where Reverend Span wanted us to end. So I think that sounds pretty good. And we can probably make that happen. And then I guess we'll, of course, take any questions as they come at the end of the presentation.
Audrey, that looks great. The only one additional slide that we'll have is that site logistics plan.
Okay, logistics.
Yeah, site logistics. And it'll be
Okay.
like kind of a marked up Google image of how we come in and out of the building.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that before or after timeline?
It can go after.
Okay.
It can be the last.
Okay, sounds good. I'll just fix that for you, and then yeah. And I don't know, Kwame, did you guys want to put in your information, or do you want to send that over and we can do that for you? Either way, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, we can send it as a project file or a PDF, and you can just kind of copy paste it onto the slide.
Okay, sounds good. All right,
We'll make
that'll
it
work.
easy for you.
Okay, thanks. But yeah, that's pretty much all we were thinking. Keep it short, keep it simple, and just give them, the congregation, like the big picture overview. And then we think that'll make everyone happy, get everyone really excited about the project, and in about 2 weeks we'll kick off, and we'll be there, get it moving. Gordon, do you have any input?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to. This is kind of Audrey and I sitting down and going through, and her great ideas, kind of putting it together. Just wanted to talk to the team to see if that all works as far as overall scheme, and then we could get to the nut and bolts of each kind of individual.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense. I mean, based on what it sounded like, we won't have a whole lot of time to talk, so it sounded like it was only going to be a few minutes apiece. So I don't know that we necessarily need any more slides. It sounded like they really wanted to hear more from you guys than us, since we've already presented to them. But if there's more information you guys want us to add in there, just let me know and we can make sure we get that included. And feel free to, rework our slides however you need to make everything consistent.
Okay. Yeah, I think that what you guys had was good. And then I just trusted you all that if there's anything else you want to share that you can, I'm not going to step into your lane and into your scope. But I thought that it looked good, and it was, I think that he really just wanted to know about that, the
The hearing assist.
the hearing
Yeah.
assist. Yeah. So I think
Okay.
that is something the congregation will really enjoy as well. So
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, Baptist Church 101 is they give you time limits, but if they like what you're presenting, they don't think about the time limit. So we'll try to work within that time limit, but I assume as we get into it, questions come up, people get interested. This could definitely stretch longer than 10 minutes. We're given that time limit, but it's kind of like I've seen this at funerals where they tell people 3 minutes and they go 7 or 8. So it's we just we'll try to stay within those time limits, but I think they'll let us know if we'll work within that time limit, but questions are going to come up. Absolutely, that's going to stretch it out, and this is important information that congregation wants to know. So we'll certainly work to try to stay within those time limits, but I think what's going to end up, I picture what's going to happen as we present those photos, and as you present, questions are going to come up, and we want to definitely take the time to answer those in a way that makes that congregation comfortable. If there are no questions, that's not a good thing in a Baptist church. That means that they're not paying attention to what we're saying, and they're holding back with their criticism of it because they're trying to be nice. So that's
If
just
you don't have
that's
anything
my
nice
two
to say, don't say anything at all.
yeah, that's my 2 cents of being
Okay.
a lifelong Baptist. But we'll try to stay within those time limits. But questions are going to come up that could potentially elongate it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So let's go back to I just want to Team Leaper. Any overall conceptual before we get into the individual?
No, I think we're solid.
Okay, great. Well, let's go back to that team slide. I think this is kind of we could kind of list all of the pertinent team members, and then who's ever there can just say, hey, you know, we'll Rob can say, hey, I'm Rob Bender. We've got Matt and Luke, and the other teams working with us, and that could just kind of be a quick introduction. We'll do the same, and then so what we'll do that in such a way where the individual we could allow kind of we'll see how the setup is, but we'll allow each team to have just a representative to speak for that team and introduce that team. So RJ Leaper, Kwame, if you're there, you could say, or whoever's there can just introduce themselves and introduce their own team. So that way it kind of, it's not one person, it's kind of more conversational, and they could see the teamwork that we've already had, because we do want them to get the sense that we're working as a team, and that we're, this is the right team of people to do the work. So I would say in that slide, just we'll start with Rob, and we'll just let Rob know that, when we do introductions, he'll start it off and just talk about, introduce himself and just talk about the folks that have been working with him. So any questions on this slide? Does that work for everybody?
That's good.
All right, let's move to that next.
Sorry, one quick question. Do you want job titles or anything on there, or just names?
I think just names, because we don't, I think we get into titles.
Get real long.
Yeah, it could get long. Yeah, it could elongate it. We just want this as a quick introduction, and they'll kind of they'll figure out our role. But to the congregates, they're not really interested in roles. They just want to know that there's a team of competent people working on their project. So that's all we're really doing here.
Okay.
So let's move to this next slide. So this is kind of where Rob will come in and talk about just kind of in layman's terms, and we got to be careful, and that's me too, not getting too technical. Just talking in layman's terms as to, hey, you have an existing system. We're here to ensure that we get even distribution throughout. You talk about coverage and all of the things that, like things like speech intelligibility. You might not want to get too deep in that. Just to say, we want everybody to clearly to be able to hear the pastor and to hear the choir and hear all the different presentations. We don't want to get caught up in speaking any over folks' head, even though this is very sophisticated congregation. Who could there'll probably be people in there who could talk extensively about speech intelligibility. We kind of want to keep it to the layman and kind of speaking to kind of the improvements that we'll see.
Rob is our least technically apt person on staff, so he was most worried about getting the technical knowledge. We just won't give him any technical knowledge, and it'll keep him from
He's perfect.
You'll be able to hear better than what you can right now. That's what.
He's a former executive pastor for a couple different churches, so he'll be great and able in terms of being able to communicate this with them.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, he's gonna fit right in. Okay.
And I think on the next slide we talk about the now this is where it might get a little more technical, because you are talking about just basically something that we've worked with the congregation, or we've worked with the church leadership, and we found that this is something that we want to provide as part of this project, and we could kind of give them I'll let you lead this. I'll let Rob lead this conversation, but he will be leading this conversation. He will be speaking about it, but just basically let them know that this is an enhancement that could help out some of their congregates, and some of the older congregates could really. This is a section where I say the questions might come up to Rob, and so he just got to be able to. Do I need to know how to use a smartphone to use this? Things like that. Just be kind of prepared for that as we walk through it, and just kind of those questions. So this is where it could start getting long, because I think we're going to get questions once Rob presents this. Anything you can think of, Matt, as far as?
I don't think so. Like I said, we're going to keep this. We're going to keep our section fairly brief. I think you're right. The main thing Rev Span mentioned, he wanted people to know about what this was the assisted listening system, and so that'll be pretty easy to just kind of talk through the functionality of exactly what they'll have available to them to be able to use. So.
Very good. Now, any other questions on the wave section? The slides, looks like we'll be able to get it in these 2 slides.
I think so. I think we got everything we need in there as it is. And like I said, with the recording of this meeting, I'll go back through that with Rob early next week, and then I can provide any information back to you on Monday if he has anything specifically.
Very good. So let's go to the next one. So this one, and we're going to we're thinking maybe a balcony shot, just kind of existing of what they have in that existing one. This is where kind of Rob will hand it over to me, and then I'll just kind of talk through briefly, hey, this is where I think we're going to be in the congregation, but it'll be good to have a shot where those balcony shots that we got that day were really good, because you can kind of see it all, and we could just talk about what they have existing. And then, actually, let's go back to scope. We might, I'm thinking about it, maybe existing goes before scope.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll kind of talk about what they have existing there in the pulpit area. And then the next part we'll talk about scope. And this is kind of, we'll talk about how it evolved from just the AV upgrade and the need to encapsulate those speakers and how Neighbor and Concept became involved in, and how the church saw this as an opportunity to supplement and provide a new frontage to their pulpit area. So we'll show them the existing, what they have. We'll talk about the scope and how it evolved into that. And then the next slide, we're going to just show the process of, we have some sketches that we did, kind of just showing the process. And the main point of that slide is just to let people know that we're not coming in imposing our ideas on them. We work with them to come up with these ideas. And for the congregants, that'll be good to know that, hey, Pastor Jones had a main stake in, the design decisions. And we want to iterate that over and over again. That's kind of a main point. We want to let the congregants know that Pastor Jones and Harvey were involved, in the design process. And then we'll conclude it with those slides that we saw, those renderings that we saw earlier, with photos of the congregation and basically our solution. And we'll have some printouts of those to present. I'm thinking, Audrey, what we might do is have those printed out, and we'll cover it up with something. And then after we show it on the screen, then we'll reveal it to everybody. We don't want to show it too early. What do you think? Well,
yeah, it's good. Let me get them photoshopped today, and I can talk to Taryn or Megan about getting them printed.
Okay, great. And then this is where the next slide, this is where I want to turn it over to RJ Leeper, because we do want to talk about, I know you guys had that timeline Gantt chart. I think that would be good because, just kind of walking through, hey, we're going to start roughly after Labor Day, and we're going to try to get you in December 1st. Now, big thing, we know construction things happen. So we do want to just kind of leave it loose. We don't want any kind of hard deadlines that they're going to come and pin us down on or pin the church leadership on. We do want to just say we're going to give a good faith effort, try to get you back. And I'd even back out a few weeks. I'd just say before the Christmas holiday, and just leave it at that. We internally are trying to get done by December 1st, but we don't want folks to 100% tie us to that date.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kwame.
Yeah, our current schedule shows December 5th, but yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that? I'm just kind of relaying my ideas, but
Yeah. Patrick, you get that?
Yeah, I got that. Just keep a
Yeah.
high level, saying early September start. We get you in before the Christmas holiday, but we'll detail it out so they can see some more specifics.
Yeah, and yeah, what we don't want to do is get too tied down to a specific date where somebody's going to say, I heard it in a meeting, and if we're not done at that date, they're going to get upset and not give money. We don't want to get caught in that kind of church politics. We just want to keep it loose where basically they know that we're making a good faith effort to get them in before Christmas. And if everything goes smooth, that's what's going to happen. It is construction, things happen, unforeseen things happen, but that's our goal. And then logistics, I think that's a good one to talk about. And this is one I think could potentially stretch out. We're going to get questions about how we're going to, how you're going to mobilize in the building, how things are going to work out as we work through construction. And just basically that might be more of an open discussion. So that's where I think that 15 minutes, along with the part about the hearing impaired, can potentially stretch out. But we just want to be prepared for that.
Matt, I have a heads up and a request. I do think that will be a point of conversation. And this is something we probably just need to resolve internally with, well, not in front of the congregation committee, but with Daryl. He has asked for a spec sheet on the lift.
Okay.
So as we talked about logistics, there are a couple of like bottleneck doors that lead
Okay.
into the sanctuary, and there are different routes and a couple tight turns no matter which way we go in
Yep.
that he wants to take a look at. So if we can get the spec sheet with dimensions of the
And,
lift,
and I
that'll
think
go a long way.
that'd be a good conversation for the pre-construction, but
Yeah.
for this one, just with the congregation, we'll try to just kind of give them more of a
I was about to
more of
say,
an
I'm not
100
sure I
foot.
Oh yeah,
can
that's
get
in
that
the
info
weeds.
by
I'm not saying
Tuesday,
that's
but
for
for
Tuesday.
pre-construction, absolutely. I'm trying to make sure I've got a updated schedule too, because you and I are probably going to need to coordinate on some of that. And with some of the acoustic delays, our schedule is having to rearrange. So, but yeah, absolutely, we'll get that spec sheet out, and get that identified by pre-construction.
Yeah, this isn't for Tuesday. That just came out in the
Oh
conversation.
yeah, that's good stuff.
Adding it to my to-dos.
All right, and then at the end, we just all be prepared to answer any questions that they have. Biggest thing is let them know that Pastor Jones was involved. Let them know that we're trying to get him in before December 25th, but don't hold us to it because things happen. And we're looking to give them a good project. So yeah. So just any comments on your end, Matt, from Waves? Does that seem at all?
I don't think so. I think this is good.
Okay, Team Leaper, we'll start with Ms. Bradley. Any comments, questions on your end? You're on mute.
No questions or comments for me.
Okay, we'll go to Patrick.
No questions or comments this way either.
Very good, very good. Brian?
I think you touched on it. Y'all still haven't decided on the floor, so that's the one thing that I was looking at as far as pricing goes. And then I have been in touch with the stone supplier. They've worked up a quote. There's about 6 to 8 week lead time, so we're trying to work with see what kind of labor we're going to have on that. And then there's probably a little bit more detail we need to discuss because I think that rendering you gave us shows a cap on it, which is fine. We just need to have a good understanding, probably put some kind of submittal together to make sure everybody's on the same page with that one before we order it. That's all I got.
Okay.
I have some more details for you, Brian, that me and Gordon talked about yesterday that we're going to send out to the team.
Okay.
We've just been kind of like putting together and rounding out, again, like just in partnership with Warco too. I know that there are some last minute things there. But hopefully the one thing about the stone is like, Mason Made also has the capability of doing the stone pad where that current piece of granite sits. I worry about the flooring. I worry about like how all of those things are going to butt up together during construction. And I really think it would be in their best interest. And we can talk about this in the pre-construction meeting with them. If we just replace that flooring like with a piece of stone that matches like what we're installing now. Mason Made did say that they could make that happen. The timeline for something like that custom would be about 10 to 12 weeks. So we need to get that information and the church needs to make that decision as soon as possible. And when they do that, that'll affect your cost as well. But I think it's the best interest of them and of the project to do it all at once. I don't think that's something they want to come back later and redo. And I think it would just make the entire design look a lot cleaner. And I'm going to put together like a sketch for you guys on that as well, just so it will be easier for you and Mason Made to get together and price it. But I'll get that to you sometime next week.
So I'm not sure if I quite understood that. Is there stone going on the floor versus just the wall and cap?
Have you been to the existing? I don't think I have a picture of it. There's like
right.
a piece of granite on the floor. Is that right? Am I saying that
Yeah.
right?
Brian,
Okay.
what they have now is let me see if I can pull a picture up. They have one of the things that drove kind of the stone motif is they already had stone there, and it's in the flooring. So it's a piece that they have. And the question, now that we have a new pulpit area, is do they just want to build on top of that existing, or if they want to come back with something new? So let me.
Is that visible from the congregation? The stone?
No, it's on the floor.
Well, I think if you're like sitting up in the like on the second floor, it is visible. Like you could see it if you were up in the top.
Okay. All right. We
Yeah.
just haven't discussed that part of it. Yeah, I guess that's something we can talk through.
Yeah.
Coordination. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so this is let's see. You could kind of see it here. Let me share this photo.
I just looked at one of the as-built, so I can see what you're talking about. So
Okay.
it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you see it
Yeah.
right here. This little area right here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, right there. Yep.
That's not that big a deal. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so it sounds like we're good for Tuesday, and we kind of preliminarily got some things ready for the preliminary meeting. So what we'll do is we'll finish these renderings and get those out, and once we get if you guys can just get everything back to us by 2 or 3 o'clock today. Well, actually, let me ask Audrey, what's a good time? When do you need everything back from everybody as far as the infills?
Yeah, I
Since
mean,
you're putting it
honestly,
together.
if you could anytime like about 2 or 3 is fine. That'll
Okay.
give me a few hours this evening to wrap it up, and
Okay.
if I'm being honest, I probably will be working a little later anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, great. So yeah, if you could get those items over to in response to Audrey's email, we'll get we'll try to wrap that presentation and get it to the church as well as showing those renderings. And then what we'll try to do is Monday get those renderings printed. I think if we'll find a cover in here internally or something and reveal it at the end for folks to see. So yeah, and then so what we'll do next Friday. We'll focus this meeting on getting ready for well, yeah. If we do have a Friday meeting, we'll try to push it to mid to early afternoon. If it's pushes to Monday or Tuesday, we'll use this meeting to kind of prep for that pre-construction meeting either later that Friday or early the following week. So that's all I have. Thank you all, and just want any final comments or questions before we start the rest of our day. All right, so everybody seems good to go. Thank
good.
you all, and thanks for everything. And let's do well on Tuesday because the big picture is they've got a lot of other work coming down the line that we could all be in line for if we do a good job here. So let's keep that in mind. All right, well, y'all have a good rest of your day, and we'll be in contact.
Thanks, Gordon.
All right, bye guys. Thank
That's
you.
good. Thanks, Gordon. Thanks, Audrey.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.